welcome to this video. This is my fiance.
Hi.
He's here because this video is going to be relevant to both of us and I wanted a little bit of his input. So I wanted to make a video talking about our shared experience of being new parents at the start of the pandemic and also switching to remote work from being full-time in an office while at the same time raising our child while we're continuing to work full-time hours. So as a little background, we both work for a merchandising company that works on licensed goods. I'm a production design artist, and that just basically means I take the art and I put it on the product, and I work with a Chinese factory to have that fully printed, and then it goes into mass production, and then it goes to the shelves for you people to buy.
I work on the licensing side of that, so she will pass me something that's like a picture or like a drawing, essentially like a digital drawing, and she'll be like, hey, ask Disney if we can sell this water bottle with Mickey Mouse on it. And I will send them the picture and be like, hey, can we sell this? And they'll tell us either yes or no, and it's my job to relay that information to the artist and also tell our factories if something is approved or needs to be revised or, you know, whatever the response is from the person who owns the intellectual property.
So we had a complicated March of 2020, like the rest of you, but it was a little bit more complicated for us because the day after his birthday, I went into labor and we had our first child, who's a healthy boy. He now is 2 months away from his second birthday and he's developing really good. He doesn't really talk yet, but he's advancing in other skills. We were very fortunate. We got family leave at first. Our original plan was I was going to take family leave first, and then he was going to take family leave second, and we would have this extended period of time that one of us would be home watching our child. When he would go into family leave, I would return to the office, and then probably when his family leave was done, he was gonna quit because we can't afford daycare. That was the plan before the pandemic hit, and then because of the pandemic, it kind of for us, I guess, was a blessing. We both were able to stay home with our son and continue to work full-time hours. So we weren't shoved into this we're only relying on my income. But with that, there has been challenges, and that is what I would like to talk about. So first, I think, and I'm sure that you had this too, when our family leave actually ran out and we were beginning to work again, even though it was remote, I feel like that was a challenge because we were there with him. He was still a newborn. I remember going back to work and he was on my chest. I had this newborn and I was still working, and I work in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop mainly for my work. So it's not like when I do Premiere work where I could do it one-handed. I need both hands and I need my focus. So there was definitely a pull at first of well, he's crying now, he needs a bottle, because at his age they still ate every 2 hours, and I was pumping milk, so I'd have to go and expend the milk while watching him. We also were not in the same room. That was when we were in our apartment. So he was down the hallway behind another door, and if I needed help randomly because of something with pumping issues or baby issues, it was a little hard to get him to come help. So at first that was a challenge for me.
The only real challenge that I found was going back to work with 2.5 months of a backlog to catch up on. Which certainly was, Jim Gaffigan is a stand-up comedian who has this joke that's I think it said he has 5 kids. And he says, when people ask me what it's like to have 5 kids, I say, just imagine that you're drowning and somebody hands you a baby. And I felt a little bit it was we had 2.5 months of backlog to catch up on at work. Oh, and also this baby, which certainly made it challenging as well. It was a lot harder than it otherwise would have been. But I didn't actually find it that difficult.
Yeah, you weren't pumping.
I wasn't pumping yet or ever. But I think we were still also doing like you were mostly watching him during the day and I was mostly watching him at night.
Well, when we returned to work, he was napping.
Oh, he was sleep trained.
Yeah, right? He was sleep trained.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another thing too, is we got great advice from his pediatrician on sleep training, where she really pushed for us on his 2nd month birthday, when he turned 2 months old, to start doing sleep training, and he's gonna cry in the middle of the night, and just don't go to him. And that was very hard. I think that was even harder for me. We thought it was gonna be harder for you, but it was really hard for me too. But we did it, and they were right. They said on the 3rd day, he's the 99% chance he's not going to cry. And we did it. We made it through the first 2 days. On the 3rd day, he just slept through the night, and he has basically ever since. I mean, knock on wood. But once we were able to do that, I felt like things got a lot easier. And maybe that's because I had been doing the night rounds. So now that he was sleeping through the night, for the first time in 2 months, I was finally able to get a full night's sleep. So maybe that's why I remember it being a little bit easier.
I think more challenges started to arise when he became more mobile, and more eating grown-up people food became a little bit more challenging, because he now currently, through the day, he has 3 full food meals and a bottle, and then a bunch of snacks. And so first thing in the morning, we're so lucky that we have him on a really good sleep pattern, because I do see friends that they're just like, oh my god, my baby woke up at 4 in the morning and I've been up since 4 in the morning. He doesn't do that.
Yeah, he's asleep right now. He's been asleep the whole time we've been taping this.
Like, he might wake up during the night and stir a little bit, but then he goes back to sleep.
Yeah.
He knows he gets up on a work day about 8 to 9 o'clock range, and then he gets changed, he gets fed. I think an advantage that we have with both the line of work we're in and being remote, that we can check our emails from a more mobile device. So like our phones, or like a tablet, or like a 2-in-1 like tablet computer like the Surface is. So we have the advantage that we could check our emails while we're feeding him. It gets a little bit challenging now because he's in this independent stage where he wants the fork. He wants to eat the food himself, but then he gets frustrated and, oop, there goes the fork. We went through 3 forks today at one meal.
It's interesting too, he doesn't even seem that frustrated, honestly. He just looks like he gets distracted and the fork kind of goes over the side of the tray, and then he just sort of lets go while he's looking at them. He's like, oh, I want to grab this thing. It's very strange.
Well, sometimes he's like eyes into your soul and just picks it up, and it's just like, boop. Well, what are you gonna do?
Sometimes too, he straight up will be like, no, I want this, and then like when he rips it out, he just throws it across the room.
Yeah.
So sometimes it is that he is just throwing it, but like a lot of it has just been dropping it.
That stuff does get challenging. We have weekly meetings, and that gets a little challenging because half the department does it at 10 a.m., half the department does it at 12:30, and I have to go to both. So like we tag team very good. So like those days, Andrew will just do the morning feeding, and I will go up and do what I need to do for work on my computer and do my meeting. And then when my meeting is done, like I usually do still have a group of emails I have to go through. So I'll come down and see what the damages are down here, I'll see how the battle is going, and be checking emails like with my phone mobilely. And most of the time they're just about wrapping up, so I help clean them up and then we bring them upstairs. Another challenge occurring, he wants to run and climb. He doesn't want to be in his baby pen anymore. So our office right now, we have his baby pen, and we have attached weights to it to try to keep it from moving as much, because it's just a plastic pen. And it's like nothing like being like, oh my god, like we're mean people, but he has learned to hold it and run with it. And right now our Christmas tree is up there.
Both our desks with our
desks,
desktop
our computers. There's some breakable items. There's also things we don't want him to get that he can get hurt with. He's learned to pull electrical wires out that are plugged in.
He's been pulling the dresser drawers out.
There's these dressers that are built into the wall. He's pulling the drawers out.
And yeah, like a couple of weeks ago, he managed to pull a top one out over the pen and bring it in. It went over his head. He could have been hurt. So it's really important that we try to make it that he can't move the pen.
Yeah, so we attach weights trying to get the pen a little bit harder to move, but he's gonna have guns because he's figuring it out.
He's gonna have those like football player leg muscles.
Yeah. So we do, I feel, at least for me, a challenge through the day is like trying to focus while also splitting my focus to make sure he doesn't get hurt. He also comes over and he wants snacks. He'll be like this, like right next to me. This means more. He's starting food, but he mostly is just like more, meaning he wants more food.
Yeah.
And you do have to give baby snacks through the day, like they do graze, eat. So I find a little bit of a challenge in trying to focus on things that I'm doing while also like he needing something. At first I tried to keep our food just mainly in the kitchen, and if he needed snacks, like we would come down and get snacks, but quickly gave up on that goal. So now we have upstairs snacks, and then down here is just like our backlog of like what would go upstairs is upstairs, like begins to empty into his stomach. So yeah, a little bit of a challenge with that, but I think we're figuring it out, and especially like tag teaming and being like, okay, I'm gonna do these feedings, you're gonna do these feedings. But there are instances that like it gets hard because there's things you can't ignore. He recently, a couple months ago, like tried to stand on one of his toys because now he wants to be higher. And then he slipped and he fell and he hit his head and it was a big cry. He was very, very scared. But in those instances, like you need to comfort him. And so it's kind of like a pull, like I can't not do my work, but I have to spend time to comfort like our son. You don't exactly know how long he's gonna need comforting before he feels better, because like they're starting to like just learn their emotions.
When it was warmer too, it's getting to be winter now, but in the warmer seasons, we could also like go outside for 5 or 10 minutes, you know, let him run around a little bit out in the backyard, and that always cheered him up a little bit too. And on the bright side too, I mean, you say like, you never really know how long it's gonna take. We have a pretty good kid. Like, he gets antsy, he gets fussy, but he doesn't just like explode for an hour of just screaming and crying. If he hurts himself, it's probably not more than 5 or 10 minutes that he really needs some comfort. Which is, you know, it can work into our break time anyway, because we also don't really take a lunch break. We come down, we make some food, we take it back upstairs, and we eat while we work. Yeah. So in the end, it probably works out to about the same.
We also don't believe in using the TV to babysit him. So like we do try to give him like his wooden toys, and like he does have toys that like make sounds. Like he's got like a tablet that like he can turn on, and like it looks like it has apps and they all do different sounds. But we never just like put on our phone and like have it play all 8 hours of the day and just like be like, all right, bud, we'll see you at 6.
Yeah.
But we do mix it in a little bit. So like he'll have his like morning meal and like morning toys, and then like he'll do his nap, and then he'll get to run around a little bit when he wakes up. And he's got his toys and all that, but then when he starts to get really angsty around like 4, we'll put it on maybe like 10 minutes, 20 minutes at the most. But then like we don't keep it on. We try more to like, okay, like now I'm at the end of the day, I'm not doing artwork, I'm doing like emails, so I can pick him up and hold him, and that gives him like something different. He likes to look at what I'm doing. He likes to look at the stuff on my desk. He also just likes to be held. He's becoming kind of a cuddler. Loves to give his hugs.
I think he likes a change of pace too. Like he's, you know, he's up in the same 4 foot by 6 foot pen with the same toys every single day for like 8 hours. And I think he just likes to see new things and, you know, get out of the pen for a little bit.
Yeah. But, you know, as challenging as things have been, we have overcome them.
Honestly, it's the best. I feel bad even making this video that's like, let's tell you about some of the challenges of like spending all day with your son while working from your home computer. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, there are some hard bits, but like it'd be way worse if we worked at a McDonald's or something and had to figure out how to pay for him to be in daycare and we couldn't see him all day. For me, I feel like it's kind of a blessing that we get to. Look, I'm a bit of a tech guy, and my computer at work is significantly worse than my computer here. So I can get like our company said that since we started working remotely, they have found that we are more productive, which, like, I know, shocker for so many reasons. But one of the reasons I think is because companies tend to skimp on computers.
They do.
Yeah, they're like, why?
I didn't like my computer.
Well, like, what do you need a new one for? What's wrong with this one? And you're like, well, it's slow. And they're like, but you can still do your work, right? And it's like, well, yeah. Then they're like, okay, then we're not spending $2,000 on a new computer, which I get to an extent. But we both have desktop computers that are pretty souped up. They're not top of the line or anything, but like they're pretty good. And I was also able, like, I updated my RAM to like 32 gigs for generally no reason. But, you know, I was able to do that, which made my computer even faster. We don't have to worry about transportation. You know, we don't have to worry about, like, spending extra money on food because how am I going to find the time to make it? And then, like, you know, but then I got to put it in the office refrigerator and hope nobody steals it. And by then it's 6 hours old anyway. Like, we just come down, we make food, we eat it.
I feel like we have more rest too because we're not waking up to get the train.
Yes. I just think the pros so outweigh the cons for this sort of thing.
Yeah. Because also, like, a lot of people say that, like, babies wear them out, you're always tired, and especially if you're a working parent, you're always tired. And I feel like the fatigue we feel is by our own volition half the time. Because we get them to bed at 8 o'clock and then we choose to stay up. Where, like, if we went to bed at 11, I don't think we would be as tired in the morning.
Yeah. Well, again, we're very lucky because he sleeps through the night. I mean, he doesn't get less than 12 hours of sleep in a single night, usually.
Yeah, no.
Which is great. Challenges. I would say things that have helped us when he was first born.
Challenges is these cats making my eyes itchy.
I know.
With their butt dander that they're kicking up in the air.
Butt dander. Something I would say is helpful when we first started. Something that I think was a huge lifesaver when we first had our son was a dry erase board that we used to tell, like, when we fed him, what time he went to sleep, and that was an easy way to tell. And we would put how much he ate as well, because you have to be very careful to make sure that they eat enough. Because when we were first in the hospital with him, right after he was born, we would try to feed him. He'd eat like one I don't know,
ounce,
1 ounce, and then fall asleep. And we were like, oh, I guess that's enough. And the nurse was like, no, you gotta wake him up. He has to eat more than that. And that was a very important lesson for us to learn as well. So that was very helpful, as well as to be like, okay, he had this much at this time, because he also needed a certain amount per day, as well as a certain amount per feed. So that stuff, you know, before they start eating regular food, that can be very, very difficult to keep track of. So, and your memory is also, like, your memory is so dependent on how much sleep you get, like your short and long-term memory. So you're not going to remember stuff like that. Like, you're going to mix up what really happened and what was a dream. So it's really important to just write it down to make sure that you in a place you both have access to.
Well, like, in that, like, with everything, we have a calendar, and we started to utilize our calendar more of, like, writing down, like, due dates of things, because we do freelance work. So, like, due dates of our freelance work, appointments, doctor's appointments, seeing friends when people are coming over. Because, like said, there's so much going on, it's easy to forget things. Then teamwork of communicating, asking him, because, like, he does his podcast, So like being open communication of like, when are you gonna record? When do you need to do your research? The
two most helpful things I think to take from that are to have a communication, have a sit down. If you are if you are two parents who live together and are in a relationship together, have a sit down and establish a schedule and know that there's a possibility and in fact a probability that the schedule will change, and be able to work with each other on when and how those schedules might change, and when they happen, tell the person as soon as you can and ask nicely and all that good stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like we have pre-training to that because we work in such a high demand, high paced, high changing environment. Like pre-baby, pre-pandemic, we would get assignments and they would be like, these are the most important things ever. OMG, super important. Gotta get approved right now. Gotta sample it right now. Oh my god, oh my god. And then like in working on it, like they would just like be in and be like, no, forget all that. Now this other thing. And it's just a lot of that, so.
I feel like we were both very fortunate in that we were kind of prepared for having a child in a lot of ways. Like we had that, and like we were no strangers to working under pressure, but also neither of us really ever slept. Like I prided myself on like basically never sleeping and just working, grinding myself down as much as possible. And then I'd find a day off and sleep 12 hours and my battery would be charged up again.
Yeah.
And I sleep more now than I ever did before we had our son.
Yeah, and I'm very prideful on my ability to like draw the lines with stuff. So like since we've gone remote, I do see in our emails people working overtime, working all kinds of crazy hours at night, like working like some people I think work like 24/7 now because like they're remote and like they don't care. But I'm kind of like, all right, I did my 8 hours. Bye-bye. I'm gonna go spend time with my son and my 3 cats, and I guess my fiance will be there too.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to think of it like a contract, because that's what it is. I mean, you signed a contract with a company that they would pay you for a certain amount of time, and as long as you were dedicating yourself to the work within that time. I mean, it's one thing if you want to, like, if you've worked out with your company that like, hey, I'm going to take a couple hours off here and there more than we had agreed upon, but I'm going to make those hours up at midnight because I feel like I'm productive then. Okay, great. Like, if you function better that way, that's great. But to give more than you have agreed upon, to me, seems silly.
Yeah, and plus we have shit to do.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you can make up that money elsewhere. Like, you can use that time for a side hustle or a second job or something to be able to bring in more money.
Well, even like with saying, like with talking about our kid, we grocery shop more now because there's 3 of us, and we have to do laundry because he's a little poop machine, and we have to clean more because like he runs in the living room, but like we can't just have it dirty and him like just start eating like
right. I was gonna say
cat fur.
He thinks everything is food.
Yeah, like
Still.
We had to move our cat crunchy bowl away from his gate that separates between the living room and the kitchen because we learned his arm is long enough to just reach in and grab it. So like we had to rearrange like stuff in our house like around like what he can grab. So like I don't have time to work overtime even if I wanted to because I got all this other like responsibilities of a parent.
Well, even once work is over, like he gets up at 8 or 9, which is basically when it's time to start work, and then work ends at 6, and he goes to bed around 8, and we got to start his dinner at 7. So like if you want to have any time that's just us, then you got like 1 hour.
Yeah.
You know?
And not to mention like when we give him baths, like we try to do it on the weekend, but like sometimes like he recently like we woke him up a couple of weeks ago and he was just like covered in poop, and his like crib like mattress like thing was covered. Like we thought we might have to like deep clean the actual mattress, but like luckily all the guard things like stopped it, and he had an emergency go in the bath. So like, yeah, like we have to like plan for like those sudden things, and then like we also have to like quick get into like work, you know.
So yeah, that's what it's like to be a parent who works from home, be two parents who work from home.
During the pandemic.
During the pandemic.
Thank you, Beyonce, for being in this video.
You're welcome.
Thank you, 3 cats
that
are looming off of
just
frame
outside the frame.
for not really interrupting anything.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rowan, for staying asleep like the good baby that you are. Yeah, I hope that highlights some information on what this world of being a first-time parent, working remotely full-time, and taking care of a toddler with no daycare has been like. I feel like other people might definitely have it different than us. We're definitely like not saying this is how it is for everyone, because we're very fortunate to have it as easy as we have it. But yeah, that's our experience, our shared experience, because we're in this together. Or he has no place to live and he knows that.
I could find a sidewalk.
Yeah, you can find a cardboard box.
Yeah, no problem. You kidding? There's probably a refrigerator place nearby that has a ton of really big boxes. If you have any questions about anything, or you want us to make a video about other aspects of this or other aspects of our lives, put them in the comments. Let us know.
Tell us like your experience in the comments. We'd love to hear from other parents going through the same thing, how they're doing, or like tips and tricks of stuff, because we're definitely learning crap as we go.
Yeah, I definitely feel like we're kind of drowning sometimes, so it'd be nice if someone else is drowning is like, hey, I noticed that if you hold your breath, you float. That'd be great. If you could do something like that for us, that would be primo.
Yeah, we only really have our jokes to keep us sane.
Yeah.
And some of our alcohol.
And the jokes, not very good. The alcohol, though, pretty solid.
Yeah, except his alcohol sucks.
No.
Just like his taste in music.
How dare you. Man, you went for the jugular.
But yeah, so this was fun. This is a little different from my art videos that I've been making, and him being here in this video is a little different. So thank you. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like this where I involve my beautiful Beyonce, please let me know in the comments, and it would really help me if you like this video and if you subscribe to see more, because I definitely have more videos that I'm gonna do. And I do plan to have some more videos with Andrew in the future, because he is an actor, a podcaster, a set builder. He thinks he's got some comedy jokes that he makes, and I plan to make some videos involving some of that stuff down the line. So have a good day. Enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy your pets. We're gonna enjoy this little meatball.
I got one too.
These two hate each other.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep her a little further away.
Yeah. This one, this one thinks that she's tough, but she's not. This one lived on the street and can kill.
This one's very tough.
Yeah. But,
all right, I'm gonna put you down now.
All right.
There you go.
Bye-bye. I'll talk to you another time. Bye-bye.